Hey rollers, if you're considering competing in a grappling tournament, I have several suggestions that may be helpful for you. Basically, I made a list of the things that I wish I knew before I started competing.
If only we had known this earlier.
First of all, register. If you find a tournament that piques your interest and works with your schedule, just pull the trigger and commit. In my experience, the longer you consider it, the more chance that you'll find for other plans or excuses to avoid it. This would be a good time to check out the rule set for this tournament. If you're not familiar with specific rules, do some research to find out what you can and can't do. For most tournaments, you'll have to decide what weight category to enter. It might be tempting to enter a lighter division and do some weight cutting. If you have experience with this as a wrestler or in previous tournaments, it may be a good strategy. Generally though, it's best to go in at a natural weight. There's enough stressors in competition without watching a scale, trying to do last minute cutting, or risk leaving yourself weak. In most tournaments, the gi divisions will include the weight of your gi, so be sure to take that into consideration as well. Now is the time to train. This is not the time to try a variety of new techniques, but to sharpen the techniques that work best for you. The only exception to this would be to add some stand-up drilling to your training if you're weak in this area. Tournament matches start on the feet, so you'll want at least a couple of takedown strategies in your bag of tricks. Try to do some training that mimics the competition as closely as possible. Set up rounds with the same length and same rules. You could even get someone to award points. The more times you do rounds like this, the more natural it will feel when you compete in the tournament. The next step is to prepare your body by eating right. As I said before, it's not a good idea to drop your weight just before a tournament. I try to keep to my normal diet, including a completely standard breakfast on tournament day. I've tried adding larger breakfasts, protein shakes, and other things, but I've always regretted it. Take my advice and limit the number of adjustments that your body has to make on the day of competition. You'll also want to make sure to bring the right gear. You might have different ideas, but I like to bring a gi, my belt, another gi, no gi stuff, sandals, a towel, toiletries, a clean change of clothes, mouth guard, a camera and a tripod, lots of water, and snacks. And also ID and paperwork if you need that. My next tip is to arrive early. Showing up early can give you the chance to do several things. If it's a large venue, it can take a while to adjust to the space. It's not ideal to rush into a room and begin competing in a space where coaches are yelling, the next matches are being called over the loudspeaker, and there are people in the stands. If you're like me, you'll want to have plenty of time to check in, use the bathroom, get changed, and weigh in. One of the most important things you can do is to get yourself in the right headspace. Almost everyone battles with anxiety at Jiu Jitsu tournaments, and people have different ways of dealing with it. Check out my recent video, linked in the description below, to see some things that work for me to stay somewhat relaxed.
Oh yeah, they all work for me.
A good warm-up can serve a few important purposes. It can help prepare your body and prevent injuries. It can help work out some of the anxiety by going through some very familiar movements. You don't want to wear yourself out, but I recommend some light rolling or flow rolling. If you get to the point of wiping sweat, that's your sign you're ready. You may not believe me, but competing is often the easiest part. Once you slap and bump, you just do what you do every time you do in training rolls. You might need to adjust to your opponent's style, pace, or intensity, but this should be the part that's fun. Test out your favorite moves and see if they work on this unsuspecting opponent. Find out if your defenses hold up to the attacks. If you want to benefit from competing, one of the best things that you can do is to reflect. Consider what worked and what didn't. Recall the decisions that you made under pressure and critique them. How was your pace? Your level of aggression? What could have prepared you better? I find video to be a fantastic tool for this because, as they say, video doesn't lie. I'm often surprised how smooth a movement may look on film or how embarrassingly lazy I appear. I can compare past matches and see improvements or continued bad habits. I highly recommend taping all tournament matches if possible.
This is pretty much the worst video ever made.
I hope these suggestions were helpful. If there's anything else that you can think of to add as advice, or if you have any questions, please use the comment section below. Also, please help out my channel by liking and subscribing. Thank you for watching.